In the next 60 seconds, you'll see why your best thinking makes people trust you less. It happens every time you explain before anyone asks. You open the hood, you show the wiring, you point to the parts. And right there, while you're being most helpful, your authority quietly drains away. Not because you're wrong, but because visible process registers as unfinished work. This isn't about intelligence. It's about how rooms measure certainty versus depth. And once you see this mechanism, you can't unsee it. What's actually happening here is mechanical. The bottleneck isn't your knowledge, it's how that knowledge shows up in shared space. Social systems don't reward thoroughness, they reward finished signals. Watch how this plays out in real time. Chapter 1: The Day You Become the Explainer. Let me show you two versions of the same meeting. Version A: Alex says we're shifting the deadline to Friday. Clean, complete, no extra words. The room adjusts. Questions come later. Version B: Jamie says, I've been thinking about timelines and considering the back-end delays, plus what marketing needs, I'm leaning toward moving to Friday. Same conclusion, different delivery. And here's what happens. People don't challenge the idea. They ask Jamie to clarify. Why Friday specifically? What about the back end? Did you consider Wednesday? Jamie's thinking was deeper. Alex's delivery carried more weight. Here's the part most people miss. Explaining isn't weak, but unsolicited explanation signals uncertainty to the nervous system of the room. Neurologically, people don't process authority by accuracy first. They process it by resolution. Your brain treats clarity as safety. It treats ongoing processing as instability. So when you explain too early, you accidentally announce, I'm still inside the thinking. And social systems don't wait for thinking to finish. They move toward whoever already sounds done. This is where smart people lose leverage without realizing it. And this pattern doesn't stop here. Chapter 2: Why Decisiveness Beats Depth. The system responds to decisiveness faster than intelligence, not because decisiveness is better, but because it's easier to place. Think of it like cooking for guests. One cook shows you the recipe, explains each step, talks through substitutions. The other cook serves the meal. Both might make identical food, but only one gets thanked for dinner. When you explain deeply, you offer multiple possible interpretations. When you state decisively, you offer one, and the brain prefers one. Here's the uncomfortable distinction. Depth creates options. Options create delay. Delay lowers perceived authority. So even when your thinking is superior, the format dilutes its impact. This is why quieter, less thoughtful people often rise faster in group settings. They don't share their thinking, they share their position, and the system rewards position. If this is landing, hit like. It tells me this level of breakdown matters. Because the real damage isn't just being overlooked, it's what happens after people start expecting explanation from you. Most people stop here. Don't. Chapter 3: The Status Loop Nobody Tells You About. Here's what happens once you're labeled the explainer. People don't challenge your ideas directly. They ask you to clarify, again and again. Not because they're confused, but because clarification keeps you in a lower status loop. Imagine two stick figures. One stands solid, makes statements, lets silence sit. The other orbits, explains, qualifies, adjusts. The solid one gets followed. The orbiting one gets questioned. Quiet authority works differently. It withholds process. It reveals outcome. This doesn't mean being vague. It means being selective. Smart people often believe transparency builds trust. In reality, transparency builds comfort. Authority builds alignment. There's a difference. Here's the internal narrator most smart people never question. If they see how careful I am, they'll respect me more. But socially, careful looks like undecided. And undecided people don't anchor rooms. They orbit them. Wait, that's important. Let me say this differently. You don't lose respect because you explain. You lose it because you explain before you've anchored the room. And that brings us to timing. The critical shift happens now. Chapter 4. The Stage Curtain. When the curtain rises, do you see the stagehands, the rehearsals, the script changes? No, you see the performance, whole, immersive, definitive. The work stays backstage unless someone asks for a tour. Explanation works the same way. Outcome first, process later, only if requested. When you reverse that order, the room never stabilizes around you. Here's the biological truth underneath this. Your nervous system broadcasts certainty through pacing. Fast clarification reads as self-monitoring, and people unconsciously step above self-monitoring individuals. They feel permitted to. This is why being smart can quietly train others to interrupt you, to question you, to take you less seriously without ever disrespecting you openly. If you're still watching, this next part is the shift. Chapter 5. When silence does the heavy lifting. Watch how people react when someone stops explaining. There's a pause, a recalibration. The room fills in the silence for them. That's recognition forming. Recognition doesn't come from being understood, it comes from being placed. Smart people chase understanding. Social systems reward placement. Once you see this, your behavior changes automatically. You stop narrating your intelligence. You let it be inferred. And paradoxically, that's when people start asking for your thinking, not demanding it, requesting it. That's the difference between transparency and authority. This isn't about withholding value, it's about sequencing it. And once that sequence shifts, something else happens. People listen before you speak. What happens next determines everything. Chapter 6. The Signal Order Framework. Let's lock this into something usable. The Signal Order Framework. 3 steps, simple, non-negotiable. Step 1. Outcome first. State your conclusion cleanly, no scaffolding. Step 2. Hold the space. Pause, let the room adjust. Step 3. Explain only on request. This flips explanation from defense to leverage. That's it. No confidence tricks, no performance, just correct sequencing. People who master this aren't louder, they're heavier. And once you operate this way, you'll notice something subtle. The room stops testing you, because testing requires access, and access now runs through you. Straight talk. This adjustment is yours. External fixes won't rewire this. Your move starts here. Chapter 7. Your next move. So let's bring this home. You're not an explainer. You're a decider who sometimes explains. That shift changes everything. What separates the people who get taken seriously from those who don't isn't intelligence. It's whether they stop broadcasting their thinking and start delivering finished signals. This pattern either continues or ends with your next interaction. And if this changed how you see your own behavior, here's how you can lock it in. First, hit like if you caught yourself in the explainer pattern. It tells me this level of breakdown matters. Second, share this with someone who opens the hood too soon. They'll see themselves instantly, and you'll help them change their trajectory. Third, subscribe. If you want to be smart in a way that actually gets followed, this is the kind of content that will get you there. And finally, drop a comment with one place you'll try the signal order framework this week. Just naming it starts the rewiring. Because in rooms that matter, it's not about having the best thinking. It's about delivering it at the right time. And now you know how.